Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This PTR is a rapid change of balance adjustments, and we are on our second update for the PTR already. So, um, normal intro. Hello, my name is Azakai. I am doing another video for Conqueror's Blade published by Porus Interactive. This is a PTR update, and we got changes to the Silla guards, a little bit to the Tiger's Fist, the Hworongs, and actually the Damachiyetis this time. So, straight on to the balance adjustments. So these are all PTR changes. These might not come to live, but generally speaking, these will, more or less we will see some version of these things, but this is really good how fast these changes are coming in. It means that they're really keeping up with the PTR adjustments. Now, the Silla Guard's base season leadership will be was from 170, which was going to change to 180 at the end of the season. It's now 150, which will go down to 160. All right. Optimize Spear Slam hitbox, slightly increases effective range and redefine skill description. Improve the effect of Legendary Support Doctrine and Charge Doctrines when equipped. When the unit's shield is intact, the corresponding charge skills will have a block break effect. When the unit shield is destroyed, the corresponding charge skills will not have a shield block effect. Fix an issue where shield throw did not deal expected linear multi-target damage, and redefined skill description. Fixed an issue where discipline brace could not interrupt cavalry charges. So it looks like they have some kind of internal name they call as discipline instead of which is colloquially understood as some kind of brace. So not all brace are the same. Obviously, we get the common misconception where the phalanx brace of the halberdiers are completely different from their brace in their normal state. Both kind of brace, but they're completely different kind of thing. So, um, really funny that I didn't notice it before. Well, more to the next change anyway. Slightly increase the relative speed damage race target count increase from 1 to 2. Fix an issue with abnormal attack range detection using um, fix an issue with abnormal attack range detection during discipline formation. Fix an issue where the internal growth node face hardened was not effective in battle. Fix an issue where holding the V key was ineffective, the attack move was ineffective when the unit had no shield, probably because it tried to play an attack animation, but it didn't reference properly because they probably had attack animations with the shield, but not without the shield. Replace all occurrence of Deadwood Shield in Silla Guard's internal growth with Spectre Shield. Interesting. Optimize Spectre Shield description in Silla Guard's tag. Tiger Fist added a description to the Steady Stance tag, stating that it is unaffected by Disruptor Disarm effect. New description: immune to Disruptor Disarm effect. When using active skills to attack, the unit will not be staggered, knocked back, or knocked down. Fix an issue where Tiger Fist would still display the Disruptor Disarm effect. So they've completely removed the ability to apply the Disruptor Disarmed effect. Hworongs. Increase the in-battle growth rate of Hworongs. Fix an issue where flying petals could not consistently lock onto the target's head. Oh man. So it was intentional, and that's a very interesting thing to note. Reduced wind stepped cooldown by 10 seconds. Optimize arrow visuals and skill effects. Really good. I think the flying petals are very difficult to see. Other adjustments. Fix an issue where Damachiyeris Cicada lunge. I say cicada, but it's like cicada. Cicada lunge damage reduction buff was not working properly. Okay, interesting. Damage reduction effect changed from 3.5 seconds of 60% to 3 seconds of 65%. So an increase of 5%, but a drop of 0.5 seconds. Additional damage against tower shield units from 2000 to 1500, which is interesting since, like, that means against normal units, the lunge only deals like 2000 damage. That's really bad. Adjusted Jangja's corrosive venom effect, changing his damage reduction against polearm infantry brace to apply to all damage instead. I didn't want this to happen. I felt like it's too close to Rattans, but at this point, fine. If you want to get the Jangjas online, okay, that's an okay change. Now, okay, really quickly. Yeah, I didn't actually notice that their brace actually didn't have very much relative speed bonus damage. Um, the slight increase is actually, how to say, not slight. It's much larger in practical effects than, or, or they slightly increased the relative speed damage ratio so that, like, per movement of speed it deals extra, it has a bigger damage. So if it was like a 10% increase, it's now like a 20% increase. So if you're running at it like 5 speed, you'll do twice the amount of damage instead of only 50% amount of damage, which is technically it's like a slight increase, but it's like the effect is really big. Anyway, the one thing that is really concerning is that they only increase the brace target count. Their basic attack needs to be increased. The spear slam needs to be increased. Um, the shield throw again is not very good. I do think they need to rework the shield throw to be way like the shield throw is essentially useless, like actually useless. But besides that, let's take a look at the new descriptions. I do think they changed Deadwood Shield to something else. Or Spectre Shield now. I guess I haven't got the localization update, but that's fine. Yeah. So they changed the name, but it hasn't hit the PTR. I wonder if the Tiger's Fist got that update as well. Probably not. Yeah, okay. So changes for those things aren't synced up, but I'm pretty I did test this out earlier, so yeah, some of the things should be on the thing. So I'll demonstrate a couple of things. I think the most interesting performance difference you'll see is definitely in brace for the new unit. For me, the leadership cost is not really much of a factor. It's really more of a limitation rather than like the unit itself. Because of the differing like leadership things, it can seem like there's a lot of warband state, but when you consider best in slot things, there's a lot of it just ends up being more of a hassle than anything. All right. We'll see that these guys will obviously be doing poke, 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 poke. As you can see, big damage increase. No longer doing just 1,000 damage, they're now doing like 1,600. Even against relatively standing or just like walking units. Oh, that's not good. Go, 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 go. As I said before, they only changed the brace, so... Ah, they can't see, can they? Oh yeah, one thing that I'm going to have to, like, talk about. I hope this doesn't continue on. I might have to reset. Anyway. They need to probably free up the slam to not be dependent on the direction of the formation, because you got this issue where they'll slam only in the direction that they're facing, which is very annoying. Alright, cool. Oh yeah, I forgot to check if they still have that kind of weird delay where they try to do things. Hopefully it's optimized. Bop, bop. Nah, still there, still there. So they still got that weird delay. It's realistically because they're trying to do a second spear slam, so the duration doesn't cancel out. What they really should do is have like 2 separate abilities for the 2. Then we have the throw. As you can see, it's kind of linear. Whoa! These guys... Oh, okay. They probably can't see these guys. That's really sad. As you can probably tell from that, they don't seem to have multi-hit. Again, just eyeballing it here, because these things are not working properly half the time, so that's really upsetting. Let's hope the elites are still working. But yeah, hitting something harder would obviously be more obvious. Still, not the greatest kind of thing. Yeah. Realistically, not a unit I bugged out. That's not really good to test out the other thing. Anyway. Silla guards definitely still a bit weak. I wouldn't call their brace completely useless. Definitely going to be similar to, if not, how to say, on par with something like Pike Militia. The fact that they didn't stun cavalry with brace is not really much of a factor, considering that most of brace really relies on actually killing the cavalry. Otherwise, they get locked up in hitting the target. So, increase in damage should still be first and foremost the most important thing. Whether or not the relative speed damage has a higher cap, I don't know. I don't have the capabilities of testing that right now, but just so you know, relatively, most braces have about 500% cap. So that means, like, Pike Militia will do like 18 to about 2,000 damage. If you're traveling fast enough, you'll take 10,000 damage. This is the same thing with Medaus. Medaus have a pretty high base as well. So, and from time to time, it also, like, heroes will also get one-shotted by this random attack that'll do 10,000 damage. And that is the reason why, because in relation to your speed, you take extra damage, and the cap is 500%, so you'll take 5 times the damage. For the Halberdiers Phalanx, it's really strange because their cap is actually only 2 times. Obviously, there's like there's like a lot of things to consider, but it's roughly around about 2 times, so they'll only do roughly or maybe 2-3 times. I'm not entirely sure on like the set numbers, but this is kind of like what I've felt from like my experience and stuff. But funnily enough, is like if you want to know if it definitively, it is actually more efficient to go in a regular brace formation than it is the phalanx formation, when you're facing off against stuff that is really fast, especially cavalry. The phalanx formation has never realistically been good against cavalry in a kind of like charge, like a versus charge sense. You always kind of want to be in that brace position. And there's also some like other small things about the phalanx that's about the phalanx formation brace that is a little bit different. I know I'm saying phalanx, but it's just like it's difficult because we have the sunwards as well, but the sunwards phalanx, yeah. Continuing on, let's just quickly get to the interesting stuff, because there's no way I can show you the disruptor thing change for the Tiger Fist. And the really important thing here is the Horangs. The Horang changes is quite significant. They still haven't fixed the bug. They still haven't fixed a couple of the bugs for the wind step, but that's um, that's okay. Well, it's not okay, but they got time. They got time.
Your unit is retreating.
Okay. So we're starting at 0. Now they did mention that like Flower Petal aims the head, and the good thing and the hilarious thing about aiming the head is the shield doesn't protect them. Doesn't protect units completely. Oh, there goes the weird thing again. I lost one. Wow, okay, that bug can happen a lot, and it's really annoying. Ugh. Shoots at the head. You'll see that they're doing like a lot of damage, but realistically, headshots, like projectiles can do headshots, and that's twice the amount of damage. So what you're seeing is 1200 damage, and it should be, yeah, 1200 damage, and it's relatively low. Like, try not to get this twisted a bit, but like 1200 damage for an archer unit, even if they're shooting really really fast like this, these guys are roughly similar DPS as something like Vassal, something like Imperials as a bench line. That's before you consider abilities, of course. Obviously, the Bodkin arrows with their bonus and the Vassal Longbowmen with all of their bonuses will start crushing the DPS from out of these guys. But hopefully, the charge up rate, as you can probably see, I'm almost charged at 57 kills. I'm not sure entirely whether or not they changed it so that the... Oh, are you kidding? Did they... they bugged out again. Come on. No. Get these guys anyways. And max charge right there. At exactly 60. Well, yeah. You'll need 60 kills. It's not exactly... how to say, it's a good change. You get it relatively fast in these training scenarios. In battle, however, you're gonna have to work for it, because again, you're basically, how I can explain it, you're playing with a tier 4 unit base, but their penetration is really low. You're probably going to be facing off against tier 5 and stuff. And trust me when I say, it's just like, it's not going to be easy to get 60 kills. And I don't think they want it to be easy. But I still think that if they change the way things work and actually made it so that
Right now.
예, 명을
Form
따르겠습니다.
up.
함께 살리라. 죽어도 함께 죽고. 예, 명을
Stand
따르겠습니다. 살아도
Attack!
함께
예,
살리라. 바람을 타고
명을
기립자
따르겠습니다.
추격.
Attack.
혼신의 힘을 다하여 사방에
All troops
만발하리라.
form up.
죽어도 함께
now.
죽고.
Oh,
살아도
man.
함께 살리라.
Form up.
예,
Attack.
명을 따르겠습니다. 죽어도 함께
조준.
죽고. 혼신의 힘을 다하여. 로 보내주마. 공을 세울 날이 왔다.
This is kind of like the scary thing, where it's just like the headshots are actually really good against shield units. And I'm all there for it. I like the mastery of the headshots and stuff. It's not like these things are unblockable. They're obviously like getting the headshots
꽃을 꺾는 손, 목숨을 꺾는 화살의 운명.
because they're aiming for it.
전장에서 즐거움을 잃지 않으리.
That being said,
After me.
예,
these
명을 받들고
guys still
목숨
need a little bit of bug
명을
fixes. As you can
따르겠나이다.
see, when I used the wind step, it was not very smooth. Oh, oh god, yeah, and
Fallen.
the pre-upgraded wind step is still ridiculously long. Like, still ridiculously long. I have a doctrine
바람을 타고
on, so
기립자 추격.
it seems really fast.
Attack.
바람을 타고 기립자 추격.
Oh, I don't even think that doctrine even worked. Is the base cooldown something that's...
Attack.
바람을 타고 추격.
Oh no. Oh no, that's from the veterancy line, so the doctrine doesn't work on... Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. The doctrine's not working on the charge timer.
공을 세울 날이 왔다. 모두 힘을 합쳐라.
But yeah, really good that they fixed the flying pedals. Shield units will have to fear these guys. I don't doubt that, like,
오늘 그
it's
실력을
kind of
뽐내.
crazy, the idea that these guys are shooting the heads of your shield units, and I'm definitely thinking, like, I'm definitely thinking that, like, these overhead formations are going to be super important, and especially when you're facing off against these guys. So, flat formations are going to be pretty
Stand to.
useless when these
죽어도
guys are
함께
firing at you.
살아도
All
함께
troops
And-
form up.
It's a good
명을 따르겠습니다.
kind of way to find a middle ground of just like not giving archers block break. I don't think anyone I mean Imperial archers have block break on their attack, and I don't think anyone likes that. It's a tiny bit,
오늘
it's still
그
enough.
실력
You'll see phalanxes get ripped apart, those kinds of things. So for the most parts, oh man, and I forgot to show off the thing. Anyway, so those are the most important things for like for the seasonal units. Just for the adjustments for the other units, I think the Jangjus are going to be discount Rattans. I feel it's the wrong direction to go, but if it works, it works. I think the poison damage already pushes the Jangjus onto a niche level. The niche level being that you could double down on the bleed effect. So even though that
Our
like
blades belong to
this bleed effect
Shahar.
only triggers once every second, you're throwing out poison damage that does 300 damage. You're dealing bleed damage, deal 200 damage, and that can quickly rip apart heavy armor units. Like if you were to throw daggers at Iron Reapers, like I've done this before. I've literally like paced out Medals, I paced out Iron Reapers with Jangjus for fun. It's not efficient. Thank God it's not efficient, but it should be more easier to do now with the bleed effect because you guaranteed damage, and you only need to keep hitting these guys for 20 seconds each. So Depending on the damage of the throws themselves and the spread of damage, you could probably kill any of these slower tier 5 units with Jangjus now. And I'm kind of there for it, but don't like I really don't like the direction. But they again, they're definitely going to be pushed into like a discount rattan kind of thing. It's not as strong as rattan marksman, and it's not as high stacking as rattan vipers, but it's there. It's definitely there. It's going to be a little bit of annoyance. Their ammo is still going to be the biggest drawback. They have zilch for ammo. Um, Realistically speaking, either they need to kind of like either have a way to conserve their ammo, or they need to just continuously get ammo back. So if you had a really funny, just like have a hellet auxiliary with you, that could probably work out. Um, Through my testing on, well, not through my testing, but like I helped someone else testing,
Grenades for hire.
the Damache Aries are surprisingly stronger than I'd give them credit for. Obviously, the block break on the leap attack, only on the leap attack, by the way, is strong enough. It's not exactly crazy amounts. It's definitely at a point where tier 3 units will kind of have to be wary of these guys. So I don't want to say that like they're good. They're definitely not going to be good against like conventional large units, but you let these guys, then again, like everyone can flank, but it's a small unit. They're basically a half size burst unit, and they're going to mess up your flank really fast if you let them, kind of thing. So tier 3 is always a really good sphere of balance. It's not really balanced as a whole, but it's got a lot of dynamics inside of it that kind of works out to be more varied. There's more variables that come into effect because one or another thing isn't just blatantly OP. The Cicada Lunge, however, even if the damage reduction effect was not working, it's still within reason that the backflip itself is detrimental to the unit. So so even if it's CC immune, I'm pushing for I'm pushing for that the backflip come back as part of their kit as kind of a thing that they do to avoid damage. So I'm really hoping that they add some kind of invincibility protection or damage reduction on the backflip itself. Um, Using Cicada Lunge to avoid damage with the charge effect is realistically a basic and generic design. I'm not for it. I'm really hoping that they kind of don't do that where like you're just going to end up using Torrent, Cicada Lunge, or Cicada Lunge into Torrent and just skip over the backflip. It's yeah, it's not the greatest. The Namachiaris are still a fun unit. They're not as weak as they're not as weak as I thought they would be, but they're not strong enough to kind of function. Surprisingly, like the Ronins were much scarier than I gave them credit for, and yeah, I still think these guys need a buff though. Against non-shielded stuff, these guys will these guys are actually pretty scary. The knockdown in particular is really key. But yeah, that's all for the update. I hope you guys like the direction for these things. The focus on the tier 3s are really cool. I'm wondering whether you guys are going to be interested in using the Damachiaris, the Cudgel Monks, the Ronins, or the Jangus again, since they are getting touched. The Silla Guards, however, I'm thinking it's going to be on the back burner. It's going to be one of those units where it looks cool, doesn't work very well, and I'm trying to get it buffed a bit more. Not to say that like I want it to be OP, I want it to just function. So it would be great if we could get that going. But regardless, hope you guys still enjoy the game and hope you guys look forward to the changes coming. And I really do hope that the PTR keeps changes churning through and we keep this up and we get more and more changes to happen, and that by the end of this we get some interesting and unique units to come back in and not just get rolled over by a lot of generic condottieri, halberdiers, the prefecture guards. Obviously, all of the tier 3 ranged units are just going to shoot the heck out of everyone, but regardless, good overall progression in rapid changes. But other than that, my name's Sasuke. Have a nice day. Bye for now.